Hey everyone, welcome to the Grow Your Life podcast. My name's Jeremiah Krakowski. I'm so glad to have you here. This podcast is about ways to grow in your life and your business to get more results. Listen, if this has helped you in any way or will help you after listening to it, share it with somebody. I try to give away the best information, the best teaching in my podcast for free to people. And all I ask in return is that you share it. Also, if you haven't listened to any other episodes of this podcast, this is the 23rd episode. And so go check out the title, see which ones stand out to you, and listen to those. And if you're not in the hashtag Grow Your Life community on Facebook, it's a free Facebook group, a virtual mastermind. There's 900 people in that group growing just like you. It's your tribe that are growing in their life and in their business that you can grow with them as well. You can ask questions or answer people's questions. I'm in there answering questions, but there's also other people as well that have unique gifts, talents, and abilities, and you can network with them and find information from people that you can't get anywhere else in that group. So use that. Use it as a resource. And today what I'm going to talk to you about on this podcast is how to learn anything quickly and easily. How to go from where you are now to where you want to be in learning, in education, in growing in knowledge, skill, wisdom, understanding, and then how to flip education on its head to be self-education to then learn faster something. I realize that there is some techniques, some strategies to learning things that I've used over the years. And so what I want to do is I want to break down some of the basic, simple ones that everybody can follow to learn quicker. I believe that the way we're taught to learn in school is inefficient, it's slow, it doesn't help you. And so one of the biggest things is I've seen people, they're marketing, well, we're going to teach you what they don't teach in school. What I would love to do is actually this. Not just give you what you need to learn, but actually teach you how to find what you need to learn, teach you how to think. That way, no matter what business you're in, no matter what you do, no matter what you're trying to do, you can apply this as a framework that works every single time and actually improve upon it. Okay? And so this might sound like an advanced topic. This is actually for everybody. And I'm hoping that everybody grabs onto this and listens to it, which is why I really would love it to go viral, to get shared, because anybody can take what I teach in this podcast and learn anything they want to fast without going to college. And you might think, oh, well, I've heard this before. Just go to YouTube. It's way more than just YouTube, you guys. This is using all the tools that are available today in 2019 on social media as a university setting. So what we're doing is we're actually modeling the traditional university setting on the internet and actually using the biggest aspect of that is the crowd, the forum, the people, communicating with people and crowdsourcing thought and learning to hear from other people's experiences, to then pull the best or see what resonates with us, make connections as well, to then learn faster. And there's a few different ways to do this. And one of the first things is this: when people are trying to learn a topic, like a new topic or one that they're not an expert in, one of the biggest things that people don't know how to do is actually how to ask the questions that they're looking for. They don't even know how to ask the right questions. And then what happens is when they ask the wrong questions, they get the wrong answers, or they feel embarrassed. Sometimes maybe even someone says, why would you ask that? That's a dumb question. And so I want to say this to you right off the bat. There are no dumb questions. You can't ask the wrong questions. And the reason that you're not where you want to be is because you're not asking questions, period. And you're probably afraid to ask the dumb questions. And so to accelerate that, Steve Jobs was one that actually said this: the biggest reason that people don't reach their goals in business and in technology is they're just afraid to ask for what they need. They're just afraid to ask the questions. And that fear holds them back. That inanimate object of fear, whether it's based on experiences in the past, keeps them held back from asking questions. And I've done podcasts on this. If you're just afraid to ask questions, you can't break through this fear thing of asking questions, go listen to episode number 12 of this podcast. It's going to help you with that. Episode number 12 is basically, it's a framework of how to break through any kind of fear that you have in your life. And it'll help you to apply that. And so I've had a lot of people where I'll go and have them listen to episode number 12, and then they'll come back to me and say, okay, I get it now. And they ask the right questions, and they were afraid to ask the questions before, and then they listened to it and then they weren't afraid. So if that's you and fear is your big thing, episode number 12 is going to be your kind of starting point and your guide to unlock the next step for you. Now, the next step is, once you ask the questions, don't be afraid to ask the wrong questions. Be vulnerable enough to look stupid, to make a fool of yourself when you ask the questions. And the best place to start with this is Google, because Google's not going to judge you for your questions. Okay. So for instance, I taught myself about mechanical engineering and software development and filmmaking using Google. Now, those are some tough topics. You might be just trying to learn how to do anything. I'm not even going to assume what that is. But this applies to the whole gambit. And you might say, well, my questions aren't that deep, so maybe this doesn't apply to me. This framework that I'm going to show you that I use to learn those things will apply to this. And it started with Google, but Google's results were not what gets it there. It only starts the journey. And because you're based on the algorithm, you're based on one source of information. And so learning happens best when we pull from multiple sources of information and even conflicting sources of information to then build a case kind of in our notes and in our minds and study to do that. Now, I'm using some trigger words here. So people, you don't like study, you don't like collaboration, teamwork, whatever that is. Like I said, episode number 12. But if you want to learn something, I can guarantee you that you've finally figured out how to do this over your life after school. If something's really important to you to learn, that's how you do that. And this is a way to accelerate that process for you. So Google's the place to start. Ask the dumb questions. Ask, and just type it in like this: how to bake cake chocolate. So the idea is, instead of saying, how do I bake a chocolate cake, it is getting smarter now. Google is getting smart enough with their machine learning on like how to actually know real questions. So go ahead and try that. Type into Google, what are your real questions that you're looking for directly. And that's what Google says, how can I help you? And then you type in, how do I bake a chocolate cake? And then it gives you recipes. It pulls up right there. Okay. How do I disassemble an LS1 motor? So an LS1 motor is a car motor for a Corvette, and it actually pulls up a full disassembly guide and videos here on how to do this. In fact, if you watch these, you could probably tear down and rebuild a car motor, and people go to school for years for this. So already right there, Google gives us access to a limitless amount of information. It's growing all the time. It's getting smarter. YouTube is getting smarter. It's even a lot smarter than it was a year ago, 2 years ago. They're developing crazy technology to know how we ask questions, how we think, and it's becoming kind of like an oracle that you can ask anything of. So it's always my starting point for research is Google. But then I also like to utilize social interaction in that. So what I'll do is I'll start with Google, but I won't stay there very long personally. So I'll kind of understand what questions I'm trying to ask and then hone in on the specifics of those questions is what Google will help me do. And then I'll keep asking them into Google until I get stuck. Okay? So the goal is to actually try to get yourself stuck on Google. Let me explain what that means. So like disassembling a motor, okay? We're going to talk about the heads of the motor, okay? We want to talk about cleaning the cathedral ports. So there's like different levels of that. whatever, those different things. And so eventually there's going to be questions that just can't be answered by a machine, by Google. And you're going to run up against so much information, so much conflicting information that you get torn. And so the first part of the process is refining your question. So Google helps you refine your question. And when you learn how to use Google properly, it can be a superpower. Okay? And you'll learn a lot just by utilizing Google, no matter how far you go into it. You can just dive deep in what I call Google journeys and YouTube journeys, to where you dive into these platforms to see what you can learn and glean from them. You could learn how to build a full app on any device without being a tech genius with Google, literally. It's all there. And then there's courses on that, So another thing is I'll try to find, maybe there are specific books. Maybe there's books by a certain company that Google pulls up information on. So when I was studying about software development, I gravitated towards a learning system, lynda.com, Udemy, and O'Reilly, that specifically had the best training all in one place for $29 a month. And so I landed on that. I was actually really stuck just trying to learn through Google. And so I decided to pay for some help, and all I had to pay was $29. And then that helped me get further along in that. So sometimes you need to pay for that. But there's a way to learn as well that's free. And that utilizes Facebook groups. Utilizing Facebook groups as a learning engine, combined with courses, combined with training, combined with YouTube, combined with Google, will actually help crowdsource what you're studying in one place with other people and have a dialogue and a conversation, okay? So we refine our questions, and then we go into, once we get really honed in, we're like, okay, I need to figure this out. And so what I'll do is I'll actually ask it specifically, asking for direction in the place of a resource. So when I was looking for programming information, I actually went into some programming Facebook groups and asked, what's the best platform to learn how to code in Java? And I got 20, 30 different answers. And so what I did was I looked at which answers am I seeing the most commonality in? People are saying the same thing. And then what are the very unique answers, and what are the detailed ones? What is the level of expertise of these people that are answering me? And then I started to build out in my mind kind of where to go, and I honed in on the books by O'Reilly and the O'Reilly Learning Platform. And then I found a resource called Code Gym that started to retarget to me with advertising. And so I'm actually utilizing the algorithm to learn faster. And so that applies in programming, but this can apply to anything, whether you're trying to learn Facebook ads, whether you're trying to learn how to create something like home decor, whether you're trying to start a business, start an LLC, do tax stuff. And now with taxes, hire a CPA, you guys. That stuff is so intricate that you're not going to be able to crowdsource it. The people who know it, they know it. You need to hire professionals when it comes to taxes. You don't hire just anybody to do brain surgery. Taxes are kind of like brain surgery. So, but when it comes to, the basic stuff that leads up to that, how do we make money? How do we utilize the pixel? How do we do all that? These questions that people have can be asked starting with Google, and then you kind of, if you don't know what the right question is, you can refine it. And so one way that I'll also do this is I'll ask it without even asking Google first, sometimes in a Facebook group. And depending on the response I get, I can discover, do I need to do more research on this topic or not? Or maybe I'm in the wrong group. And so I'll ask as well in multiple groups sometimes. Don't spam the algorithm. Don't ask too much in groups. But I'll join. So when I was doing stuff with asking about some apps. So I was asking about, is there an app that does gestures and learning and artificial intelligence stuff related to my phone? So I went to business and marketing groups. I went to artificial intelligence groups. I went to virtual reality groups. Then I went to some app and software development groups. So these are 4 groups. Oh, and another one was actually PC video gamers. So these are 5 different groups. They're not related to what I was looking for. But what I did was these had inside of them the people that would possibly have the answer to my question. Now, I did discover the marketing groups did not resonate with my question. I got the most kind of like, what are you talking about answers to them. So I know, let's not ask marketing groups about technology stuff. But the PC gamers and the artificial intelligence and the VR people were very knowledgeable on this. They had a lot of information, and they recommended me. One person recommended me to a group that was specifically honed in on AI and machine learning with apps as virtual assistant stuff. So I actually found a specialist group that's dedicated to my question. And this is the key here, you guys. This is like, blows your mind. This is like level 4, okay? So imagine that you're trying to learn how to, what's something that people go to college for? Marketing. But okay, but let's say you had a topic on marketing that was Facebook ads, and you want to, I'm trying to think of this, like how I would do it in my head while I'm doing this. That's why I paused. Okay, so the pixel and retargeting ads and all that. So what I would do is I would find Facebook groups dedicated to Facebook ads. There's a lot of them out there. There's actually free ones out there. And you'll actually then find people that have teaching, training, courses, but there are also a lot of people are willing to just answer your questions for free, because part of this model now, we're in this new education model on the internet where Facebook becomes a hub of education. And if you heard me teach in episode number 6 of the podcast, I'm going to tie this all around here from episode number 6 until now of why this is a good idea. Is I'm teaching, and other people are teaching now, if you are an educator in a specific field. So let's say that I'm somebody that's teaching on Facebook ads. That's somebody, I'm teaching on Squarespace courses. Find where your target audience is, and then answer people's questions strategically and in a detailed way in Facebook groups that relate to what you're selling. Okay, so I'm teaching that. But now on the flip side is this. Check the flip of this, okay? The flip of this is in all these Facebook groups, stick with me here, because people are wanting to give free information to sell you on their course. If you ask the right questions, people who are just starting out to build their business and gain some clout are going to give you free answers in those groups related to your questions. And some people will do it just to sell you a course, but you'll find some of them are just willing to share answers. And that's why I even created my group right here. The Grow Your Life community is one of the best places for you to start if you're listening to this podcast. Is start from here, and there's all kinds of people from different industries. They're actually using this framework that I talk about of this podcast for learning, for marketing, for growing, for developing in technology to move forward. And like I said, I will not be shortchanged on my dream of helping 100,000 people make 7 figures on the internet. That's my goal with this podcast. And with that group is to help 100,000 people make $1 million. Okay? Whether it's through the podcast, maybe they found me through the podcast, and then they get coaching with me later and they learn stuff. I can't coach 100,000 people one-on-one, so I get that. So that's why I'm giving away this info for free for you guys to help the most people learn how to learn faster. Okay? And so one of the best places to start is this. You heard me say you can use Google to ask the question, but one of the coolest things is this. The Grow Your Life community is designed as a safe zone for questions. It's a It's a no judgment zone, if you will, for questions. Meaning this, if you don't know how to ask the right question, you can actually go into the Grow Your Life community and say, hey, I don't know how to ask this question, but I'm trying to figure out how to ask it. Do you know how to do this and how to learn to do this? So for instance, I'm not sure where to go, where to look. I want to learn how to make an app for this. I'm not sure where to go. I want to learn how to market this. I'm not sure where to go. I want to learn this. And people in that group who've also listened to this podcast will see that. I'll see that as well and help answer you and direct you to blog posts, articles, training, answering your questions, Facebook groups, YouTube videos. So it's a think tank is what it is. Is the Grow Your Life community is a virtual think tank / business mastermind. It's kind of a combo of the two. To safely, without needing to feel embarrassed or fearful, ask any question you want related to what you want to learn to grow in your life and your business. And so what does that mean? Family, health, wealth, finances, spirituality even. Asking questions, resources to grow in your life. All encompassing. To upgrade your life, to accelerate you towards your goals. So the concept of this podcast and the group is for anybody that has a goal, how to reach their goals faster. And if you don't even know how to set goals, we'll help you with that. I just did some videos on that the other day. I just did the last podcast, episode number 22, was my 7-day life transformation program. And it was specifically around goal setting. But it's not just goal setting, it's how to execute on your goals quickly in less than 7 days. And people are getting results from it. And that's the goal from this. And so what I want to do is I wanted to kind of open your mind up to the possibility of how to learn faster, how to accelerate the learning process. And it actually starts with the Grow Your Life community for you. If you're listening to this, if you try to go to a number of different groups or Google, you might not even know how to ask the right question. You can ask any question in the group and people will answer you and help, and you can see how that goes on in there. You don't also just have to ask questions related to what's already in that group. You can ask any question, any struggle, talk about breakthroughs, share and help inspire and help answer other people's questions. Help direct them maybe to a podcast episode that you've listened to that helps them. Another great way to learn, by the way, I forgot to mention, is podcasts. Obviously my podcast, but other people's podcasts too. I listen to podcasts like crazy. I listen to audiobooks like crazy. Audible.com is $15 a month. You get a free audiobook every month, and they're dirt cheap as well for what you get from a book. So I've discovered the value of books. I was actually lied to about 10 years ago about the value for books. Somebody lied to me and told me that books were the lowest value learning tool. And I believed that for a long time. And they said, full immersion is the only way to learn properly. And so what I've done is actually reverse engineered full immersion. And it starts with what I talked about, plus podcasts and books, plus courses, plus asking questions, plus Google, plus YouTube. So the idea is digital full immersion. We're now in a place in 2019 where, yes, full immersion is the best way to learn, but that's not to negate books or mentorship or anything like that. And so books should actually be a part of, not a substitute for, full immersion. They should be part of your full immersion process. And so one of the things that I love to do is if there's so many books on a topic, I'll actually go ask, hey, what are some books that you might recommend to help me learn how to do XYZ or how to grow in XYZ? I asked this question before. What are some good books to learn how to be a better leader and CEO in companies? And I got 50 different books, but a lot of people said one or two of them. And then I had some people give me some side DM conversations that knew me, that knew, and I built relationship with people from that. And I landed on some great books, Culture of Honor by Danny Silk. Awesome. John Maxwell. So the idea is this, is if you don't know where to start with learning, and because there's so much out there to learn, utilize the cloud, utilize people, utilize the resource of social media, YouTube, Google, audiobooks, podcasts, all at once. Now, here's the thing. I feel like saying all at once overwhelms people. I get it. So I don't want to overwhelm you. The best place to start, use the Grow Your Life community. If you don't do anything else, use the Grow Your Life community and listen to this podcast. The next best place to start is learn to use Google. Learn to type into Google and ask questions in Google. My cat is climbing up the wall over here. So ask Google your questions. The next place, Facebook groups. Ask in Facebook groups like the Grow Your Life community. Ask in Facebook groups that are not the Grow Your Life community, but related to the topic. So maybe find marketing groups. I found video game groups, car groups, programming groups that were related to my industry. Find your industry-specific groups, because that's where your customers are hanging out, by the way. And so if you ever wanted an upgrade to the model of, going on Amazon and reading Amazon reviews to see what your customers are saying, the best place to be able to intuitively tell what they're saying is go where they're socializing, which are the Facebook groups. So if you're selling something related to crafting, related to home decor, related to all that, go to a Facebook group on that topic or start one. That's the other thing. You want to know why I started the Grow Your Life community? I'm going to be real here with you guys. I want to hear what questions you're asking so that I can better create more content to help you. And, if the same question is coming up and it's a deeper topic, I can make courses on it. I can hone in. I can maybe bring in some coaches. I can help direct you to different places and help you grow and reach that goal. And that way, my goal is to help 100,000 people make $1 million. So if you're listening to this right now, I want to help you make $1 million. And the start to do that is the Grow Your Life community, just asking questions. And then utilizing this framework, crowdsourcing people's answers, utilizing Google to test your questions out, refining your questions, realizing there's no dumb questions, stepping out there, being vulnerable enough to maybe look silly and ask dumb questions. And then go through the content. Listen to an audiobook. Find what learning system of consumption works best for you. So everybody has a different learning consumption factor. One of the best ways I like to learn is conversationally with people, talking with people. I've learned so much just by having conversations that dive deep into a topic. Maybe it's somebody that I don't even agree with exactly what they're saying, but we're diving deep and really honing in and pulling something out and extracting it on a deeper level. A book is a conversation that the author is having with you. A podcast is a conversation that they're having back and forth or with you. And so that's also a form of conversational learning, are those books and podcasts. And as well, the Grow Your Life community. You'll find people on there. Maybe you're doing the same thing. Maybe somebody can support you. And you guys can have DMs together and ask questions and network and grow together and get more results. And so if you're trying to get more results, make more money online, and live the life that you know is possible, that you've seen is out there, that you have a dream and a vision for, if you can learn how to accelerate your learning process and you grow, now not just head knowledge, now you got to apply it. Now that comes to, once you know it, now you got to apply it. Take action. Even if you're afraid, take action. And then stay consistent, and then create habits in your life that lead to the results of your goals being manifest in your life. And that's what I talk about in that 7-day transformation program, episode number 22 of the podcast, is how to develop that and a framework for that. And so hopefully this has given you a framework of learning that you can plug into and learn faster with what's already out there. Now, I'll say this, don't be so unwilling to spend money on your education. And I'll give you a warning here, okay? Because I've seen a lot of people try to learn without spending any money. They try to learn by only doing it from free platforms. When you put money down, when you spend money to learn something, even if it's like $10, even if it's like $20, an audiobook, okay? You have what's called skin in the game, okay? You have something on the line, okay? I have my $10 in there. I better get my $10 worth, and so it'll motivate you to go through it more. I find myself, even when I spend money on something, $10, $20, maybe it's $50, $100, $200, $500 on a course, $2,000 on mentoring or coaching, I have to get my money's worth out of that. And so if somebody tells me to do something and I'm paying money for it, I'm going to be more likely to do it. And so if you notice that maybe, you're still spinning on the hamster wheel, trying to reach your goals, trying to learn what it takes to get there, get to the next level, but you haven't spent $10 just to buy an audiobook or to sign up for a mentorship program or buy a course on the topic that you want to learn, If you want to learn how to build a website that gets results quickly and easily in less than 7 days, utilizing Squarespace, that's what my course, Website Building Made Easy, is about. And it's $697 on my website. Don't be so prideful that you're not going to spend money that you feel like I can get more from the free stuff than spending money. What happens is you'll get the surface level for free, but there's gold when you spend money. So what happens is there's a deep dive. You'll get the surface, you'll understand what questions to ask, you'll see what your tribe is, the right vein, but then at some point you're going to have to pay money. Either to buy a book or to hire a coach or to buy a course or something like that. There's really no way around this. Because then once you do that, you've activated yourself into taking the next step. And you've said, I'm serious about this. I'm serious about going to the next level, and I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is and take a step forward. And because you have skin in the game, now you have to get your money's worth, at least recoup your cost. And so it motivates you, maybe instead of taking a year to make back, $200 in your business and you're still struggling, because you spent $200 on that course, you got to make $200 next month. So you're going to go through that course and learn what's taught in there to get those results. Maybe you spent $20 on that audiobook or $15 or $10 or something like that. You're going to go through that whole audiobook and apply what it says because you spent money on it. And so if you feel like you can learn all this for free, we have so much access now in the world today to learn stuff for free. Maybe you have a fitness goal, but you haven't hired a personal trainer. Put some skin in the game. Get some skin in the game. Seriously. And take action. And go after your dreams. Go after where you're going. Go after where you're headed. Choose. Just take a step forward towards your goals and stop looking backward at where you're going from. Put some skin in the game, and then take the time, put some time investment into it to go through the program, to go through the course, to go through the podcast, to go through the lesson, to ask the questions, and you'll grow and you'll learn faster by utilizing this framework. And if you want to hop on a call with me for 30 minutes for free, go to my Instagram and leave hashtag #GrowYourLife within the first 10 minutes of me posting on Instagram. So if you see it in the feed, just leave hashtag #GrowYourLife real quick. It has to be in the first 10 minutes. Or on any post that I do this week. So from I do it from the bookends of, I look at the podcast post generally, and then I'll pick somebody the next Sunday, sometime in the Sunday or Monday afternoon, from the last podcast episode that I did, who left hashtag #GrowYourLife on my Instagram feed. And I pick one person each week on Sundays on my Instagram story that can win a 30-minute coaching call with me this week. What I've done is I've committed to 30 minutes a week, no matter what, of coaching people to help them grow in their life and grow in their business. 30 minutes on the phone. Grow your life, everybody, and we'll talk soon.